I'm back. I know you guys remembered my amazing story about slope last year. So let's go over that real quick when we were classifying slope. Remember my mathematician, he always skis left to right and he's going up this mountain. So he was puffing up this mountain. So when you see a line that rises to the right, we know this slope is positive. Here's my skier. We start left to right. And he's going down this mountain and he's saying to himself, oh, this is so nice. So this is a negative slope. And remember, when he got to the bottom of this mountain, he worked up so much speed, he zoomed straight across. And zoom, you'll remember, is 0. And then what happened? He got to the cliff and he died. He went straight up and down. He fell down that cliff. In fact, he was so dead, all his body parts were scattered, and they didn't even know who he was. So it is undefined. Remember how nice and neat that story happened? So when we look at it from a graph, we can automatically note whether it's positive, negative, 0, or undefined. So how did we find it last year? Well, we had a formula. We said that slope was the change in y over change in x. Do you remember that? You had a formula, and it was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Or we set it up as a table of values, and I noticed the change in y and the change in x. So there were different ways that we figured it out last year. But when you were looking at a graph from the slope, let me erase that, and it's not going to work. All right, I know right away that my slope is positive on number 1, right? It's positive. So if I look at my change in y, remember, it's always a ratio that's change in y over change in x. And if you tell me change in x over change in y, I say no way. You're not understanding what slope is. So my change in y is 1, 2, 3, 4. And my run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope then is 4 fifths. And it's positive because he's going uphill. My slope here, number 2, is negative. I know it's negative. And my change in y is 1, 2, 3. All right. So it's negative 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what do I do if I have negative 3, 6? I always simplify to negative 1/2. Isn't that right, John? Always simplify. All right. That's 1 and 2. Number 3, I don't even need to look at it to do any math. I can just look at that graph and know that it is undefined. Okay, so number 3 is undefined, and number 4 is a 0 slope. So that's how we look at it from a graph. When we have ordered pairs, this is when we use the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But if you'll remember, I preferred the graph. It was easier for me, or the table, excuse me. So it was easier for me to do it from a table. So what I do is I put in the point, negative 2, 5 in my table, and I put in the point 6 and negative 1. And I look for my change in y. My change in y, how do you get from 5 to negative 1? You subtract 6. How do you get from negative 2 to 6? And imagine the number line when you're doing that. Negative 2, you jump to 6, positive 8. So my slope here is negative 6 over 8. But John, what am I going to do with that fraction? I reduce it, and I get negative 3/4. So my final answer is negative 3/4. So that's a refresher on how to find slope from ordered pairs. Okay, this is clearly not working. So you guys can go over how to find the slope. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do numbers 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13. I'm going to put those answers up there for your notes. And then you don't have to complete the rest. But if you're not getting those answers correct, come see me in tutoring so we can refresh your memory about how to go over those. So number 1, real quick, is going to be 1/3. And I know it's positive. So it's positive 1/3 because it's up 2 over 6. Number 4, I know right away it's going to be negative, and I'm cheating because I'm looking at my notes. And the slope is negative 1. So that's number 1 and 4. I'm sure you've paused this video and you've done number 7, 8, and 10, 7, 10, and 13. So number 7, we should be getting 3/5. Number 10, we should be getting negative 1. And number 13, we should be getting negative 1/2. So if you've gotten those, that's great. You can stop the video and start on your homework. If you didn't get those, I'm going to show you how to do the work real quick. So number 7, I'm going to set it up as a table of values. Negative 8 and negative 11, 17 and 4. See how that table's set up? So how do I get from 11 to 4? I'm going to add 15. And how do I get from negative 8 to 17? I'm going to add 25. So my change in y over change in x is my ratio. So I have 15 over 25. And 15, I'm going to reduce that, and I get 3/5. So that's how I'm getting 3/5. Number 10, again, I'm going to set it up as a table of values. I get negative 4 and negative 3, 2 and negative 9. So how do I go from negative 3 to 9 to negative 9? I subtract 6. And how do I get from a negative 4 to a positive 2 is I'm going to add 6. So change in y over change in x is my ratio, what slope stands for. I get negative 6 over 6, which reduces to negative 1. Okay? Number 13, again, set it up as a table, and I get negative 7, negative 12, 1, and negative 16. How do I get from negative 12 to negative 16? I'm going to subtract 4. How do I get from negative 7 to 1? I'm going to add 8. So my change in y over change in x is negative 4 over 8, which reduces to negative 1/2. So that is how I'm getting those answers. So you should be ready for your homework. Your homework will be due on Wednesday. If you have questions, come and see me for tutoring. Good luck. This is just a refresher, so you should be okay to go on this one. If not, I'll see you in tutoring.